Bitter breath of rain pounded against the glass storefront of Sunrise Café as Olivia Martinez wiped down the counter for the 5th time that hour. Business was slow on this dreary Tuesday afternoon, but she refused to close early. Every dollar counted when you were 3 months behind on rent. The bell above the door jangled, and in stepped a tall figure in a charcoal suit, worth more than her monthly earnings. Water dripped from his dark hair onto broad shoulders as he scowled at his useless pocket umbrella. "We're about to close," she lied, hoping to avoid the hassle of a demanding customer when she was the only one working. The man checked his watch at Patek Philippe that could probably cover her rent for a year. "It's 2:30. Your sign says you close at 6. Olivia sighed, so he could read. "Wonderful. What can I get you?" "Double espresso. No sugar." His voice was clipped, efficient. As she prepared his order, she stole glances at him, though he was absorbed. In his phone, there was something familiar about his sharp jawline and piercing blue eyes. When recognition hit, she nearly dropped the cup. Nathaniel Frost, CEO of Frostech Industries, 35-year-old billionaire whose ruthless business tactics had earned him the nickname the Ice King in business circles. $4, she said, sliding the espresso across the counter. He handed her a 20 without looking up. "Keep it." "I don't want your charity," Olivia replied, counting out his exact change. That got his attention. He looked up, eyes narrowing. "Slightly? It's a tip. Not charity. A tip is for service." "I haven't earned that much yet." She placed the change beside his cup, "but thanks." He studied her for a moment, seemingly puzzled by her refusal. Most people scrambled for his approval and his money. "Your coffee machine is outdated," he commented, taking a sip. "Per 2020 model, inconsistent pressure." Olivia crossed her arms. "And yet somehow, it makes coffee that people enjoy." "I didn't say it was bad." His lips quirked in what might have been the ghost of a smile, just inefficient. "Not everything needs to be optimized, Mr. Frost." His eyebrow raised. You know who I am. Hard not to." "Your face was on the cover of Business Weekly last month." Nathaniel nodded, taking another sip. "High praise from the Ice King," she muttered, to her surprise. He chuckled a low, rusty sound, as if he didn't use it often. "That nickname isn't my favorite. Create a reputation for freezing out competitors and buying failing companies for parts, and people tend to notice." Rather than being offended, he seemed intrigued by her boldness. "And you are?" "Olivia Martinez, owner of this inefficient establishment. You're young to own a business. 29. Ancient by Silicon Valley standards." The rain outside intensified, and thunder cracked nearby. Nathaniel glanced at the window, then back at his phone. "May I stay until this passes?" Olivia gestured to the empty cafe. "Plenty of seats." He settled into a corner table, and for the next hour, they existed in surprisingly comfortable silence. Occasionally their eyes would meet and something electric passed between them. When the rain finally let up, he gathered his things and approached the counter again. "Tomorrow," he said, "I'll try the pour-over." Before she could respond, he was gone, leaving Olivia staring at the door with a mixture of irritation and curiosity. Something told her the Ice King would be back, and she wasn't sure how she felt about that. Daily grounds 3 weeks had passed since Nathaniel Frost first stepped into Sunrise Café, and to Olivia's bewilderment, he had returned every weekday since. Always at 2:30, always impeccably dressed, always ordering something different from her menu today as she watched him typing furiously on his laptop in his claimed corner table. She wondered what kept drawing him back. The cafe was charming, but unremarkably exposed. Brick walls, mismatched furniture collected from thrift stores, and potted plants that thrived despite her inconsistent watering schedule. "Refill?" she asked, approaching with a fresh pot of the Ethiopian blend he'd ordered. Nathaniel looked up, the perpetual furrow between his brows momentarily softening. "Please." As she poured, she noticed dark circles under his eyes. Rough day in the billionaire business? His lips twitched. Over the weeks, she'd discovered he had a dry sense of humor buried beneath his frosty exterior. Board meeting. "Old men telling me how to run the company I built." "Poor baby," she teased. Must be tough having all that power and money. The money's nice, he admitted. The rest is overrated. Their banter had evolved from tense to something almost friendly.
Else.
Customers had noticed the infamous Ice King's presence business had picked up as people came hoping to glimpse the tech mogul in his unnatural habitat. Your regular customers keep staring, he noted, nodding toward a group of college students sneaking photos. You're disrupting my hipster cafe aesthetic. Usually only allow starving artists and philosophy majors. I minored in philosophy at Stanford, he offered unexpectedly. Olivia leaned against the table. Let me guess, Ayn Rand. Diogenes, actually. When she looked surprised, he added, the cynic who lived in a barrel and told Alexander the Great to stop blocking his sunlight. A billionaire who appreciates a man who rejected material wealth. Interesting. Before he could respond, the bell jangled, and in walked Dominic, Olivia's younger brother, looking harried in his community college sweatshirt. Liv, the bank called again about the loan, he said, then froze upon noticing Nathaniel. Olivia's cheeks flushed. Dom, can we discuss this later? Nathaniel closed his laptop. I should go. Early meeting tomorrow. As he gathered his things, Olivia felt an unexpected disappointment. Same time tomorrow? He paused. Something unreadable flickering across his face. Actually, I'll be traveling. Tokyo for the week. Oh, she straightened, embarrassed by her assumption. I'll safe travels. After he left, Dominic stared at her incredulously. Is that seriously Nathaniel Frost? The tech guy who bought out Rivera Solutions and fired everyone. He's a customer, Dom. Customer who keeps coming back to a cafe that's nowhere near. His office? Come on, Liv. Oh. She busied herself wiping down Nathaniel's table. He likes the coffee. He likes something, Dominic muttered. The week passed strangely without Nathaniel's presence. Olivia caught herself glancing at the door at 2:30 each day, and she couldn't deny the small thrill she felt the following Monday when he returned, jet-lagged but present. How was Tokyo? She asked, sliding his usual order across the counter. Before he could request it, productive. He hesitated, then placed a small package beside his payment. They have interesting tea there. Olivia stared at the elegantly wrapped gift. You brought me tea from Japan? It's nothing special, he said quickly, looking uncomfortable with her surprise. Just something I thought you might appreciate professionally, thank you. She smiled, genuinely touched. I'll add it to the menu tomorrow. Want to be my taste tester? Something about her smile seemed to disarm him. For a moment he looked younger, less burdened. I'd like that. Later that evening, as Olivia closed up, she found herself humming. While counting the day's earnings, business had improved enough to make a dent in her overdue payments. She tried not to correlate this with Nathaniel's regular appearances, as she locked the front door. Her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. The tea is best steeped for exactly 2 minutes. Any longer, and it becomes bitter. NF Olivia stared at the message, wondering how he'd gotten her number and why such a simple text made her heart race. She saved his contact before responding. Thanks for the tip. Some things are worth the wait, bitter or not. She hit send before she could overthink what might sound like flirting. Because it wasn't flirting, she told herself. It was just business, the daily grounds of running a cafe, where even ice kings apparently could thaw. Steeping feelings, the first autumn leaves were falling when Olivia received the letter. Standing in her tiny office at the back of Sunrise Café, she read it 3 times, hoping the words might somehow rearrange themselves. 30 days' notice, she whispered, gripping the paper until it crumpled at the edges. Westmore Properties had sold the building to a development company. All tenants were being evicted for extensive renovations and repurposing. The bell above the cafe door jingled, and she quickly wiped away a tear before emerging. Nathaniel stood at the counter, checking his watch 2:30 exactly as always. You're late, he said, his usual opener. Instead of their customary playful retort, Olivia just placed his drink down. On the house today, his brow furrowed. What's wrong? Nothing. Just business. She attempted a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Nathaniel studied her with the same intensity he gave complex algorithms. But Olivia. His use of her name rather than Ms. Martinez broke something in her. Over 2 months of daily visits, they'd developed a rapport that wasn't quite friendship, but was certainly more than customer barista. They're selling the building, she admitted. I have 30 days to relocate a cafe. I can barely keep afloat here, let alone start over somewhere else. He set down his cup. Which development company? Pinnacle Urban Development. Does it matter? Something flickered across his face. It might. I know people don't, she said firmly. I don't need charity, especially from she stopped herself. From someone like me? He finished, his voice cooling several degrees. Olivia exhaled. From anyone? This cafe is mine, my dream, my struggle, my responsibility. The cafe grew busy, giving her an excuse to end the conversation. Throughout the afternoon, she felt Nathaniel's eyes on her as she moved between tables. When she finally had a moment to check on him, his corner was empty, with only a generous tip and a business card for Regina Wong. Commercial real estate left behind. For 3 days, Nathaniel didn't return. Olivia told herself she was relieved. The last thing she needed was a billionaire trying to rescue her. She'd started this business after her parents died, using their modest life insurance to create something that honored their memory. Her father's love of cooking and her mother's warmth with people. No one, especially not Nathaniel Frost with his corporate empire, could understand what sunrise meant. On the 4th day, Regina Wong called. Ms. Martinez, I've found several properties that might suit your needs, all within your budget range. I didn't contact you, Olivia said, confused. A mutual acquaintance suggested you might need assistance. No obligation, of course. After viewing 3 surprisingly affordable locations, Olivia's suspicions crystallized. These are well below market rate. What's the catch? Regina smiled diplomatically. The owner of these properties is motivated to help small businesses displaced by development. And this owner wouldn't happen to be Nathaniel Frost, would it? Regina's silence was confirmation enough. That evening, Olivia marched into the gleaming Frostech headquarters, past protesting receptionists, and somehow found herself outside Nathaniel's office. His assistant, a woman with a severe bob and sharp eyes, blocked her path. Mr. Frost is in a meeting. Tell him Olivia's here. He'll see me. To her surprise, when the message was relayed, she was immediately ushered in. Nathaniel stood by floor 2 ceiling windows overlooking the city. Suit jacket discarded, sleeves rolled up, looking less like the Ice King and more like a tired man. You're meddling in my life, she accused without preamble. He turned, expression unreadable. I'm offering resources you need. I never asked for your help. You never had to. Something vulnerable flashed in his eyes. I know what it's like to build something from nothing, to have it threatened. Olivia softened slightly. This isn't a tech startup, Nathaniel. It's just a cafe. It's not just a cafe to you. He stepped closer, and you're not just a barista to me. The air between them charged with unspoken tension. For weeks they'd been circling each other, their banter a safe distance from whatever was really developing. There's something else, he said, breaking the moment. Pinnacle Urban Development is a subsidiary of Frostech Industries. Blood ran cold. You're behind the evictions. I was unaware of the specific properties involved. My acquisitions team handles those details. So this is guilt? I'll throw some charity at the coffee girl whose livelihood your company is destroying? No, he ran a hand through his hair in a rare display of frustration. This is me trying to fix a mistake. I've halted the evictions pending review. Olivia felt dizzy with conflicting emotions, relief, anger, confusion, and something dangerously close to attraction. Why do you even care about my cafe? Nathaniel looked at her with an intensity that made her breath catch. Because for 45 minutes each day, sitting in your cafe is the only time I don't feel ... cold. The confession hung between them. Olivia took a step closer, close enough to see the flecks of gray in his blue eyes. I should hate you right now, she whispered. His lips quirked in that almost smile she'd grown to anticipate. But you don't. No, she admitted. I don't. As the evening light painted his office gold, Olivia realized their feelings had been steeping far longer than either had acknowledged, growing stronger with each passing day. Boiling point, the headline glared from Olivia's phone screen. Frostech to launch premium caf chain. Frost Brew coming to major cities. Below it, an artist's rendering showed sleek, minimalist interiors with the familiar angular logo Olivia had come to know from Nathaniel's business cards. She set down the phone, her hands trembling slightly. The cafe was empty. She'd closed early, unable to maintain her cheerful facade after seeing the news. 3 weeks had passed since their moment in his office. 3 weeks of cautious flirtation and lingering touches as they navigated whatever was growing between them. Not once had he mentioned his plans to enter the coffee business. The knock on the cafe's locked door startled her. Nathaniel stood outside, concern evident on his face. She considered ignoring him, but instead walked over and flipped the lock. "You're planning to compete with me," she said without preamble. After everything, his expression shifted from concern to confusion. "What are you talking about?" Wordlessly, she handed him her phone. He scanned the article, his jaw tightening. "This wasn't supposed to be announced yet," he said, voice low. "And it's not what you think, really. Because it looks exactly like what I think." The hurt in her voice surprised even her. "You've been studying my business for months, figuring out how to improve on my concept. Olivia, was that the plan? All along? Is that why you kept coming back? Research and development for Frost Brew?" She laughed bitterly. "And here I thought you actually cared about me." Nathaniel's face hardened into the mask she hadn't seen directed at her in months. "Already decided I'm guilty? Why bother with my explanation?" "Try me," she challenged. He paced the small cafe, running a hand through his usually immaculate hair. "The cafe project began a year ago, long before I met you. It was my sister's idea." "Your sister," Olivia faltered. In all their conversations, he'd never mentioned family. "Josephine. She died 18 months ago. Cancer." His voice was flat, clinical, as if reciting facts from a stranger's life. "We'd planned to start a business together, something separate from Frost Tech, something that was just ours." The anger drained from Olivia, replaced by confusion. "I don't understand." "After she died, I shelved the project. Couldn't bear to think about it." He stopped pacing, staring out the window. "Then I met you. I saw your passion for this place. It reminded me of her. So you decided to revive your cafe chain? To what? Honor her memory by putting me out of business." Nathaniel turned, frustration evident. "The first Frost Brew was planned for Chicago, not here. And the concept is completely different. Technology-focused, automated service, corporate clientele, nothing like Sunrise. And why hide it from me?" The hurt remained, even as her anger subsided. "Because I knew how it would look. Because everything I touched turns corporate and cold, and I didn't want you to see me that way again." The raw honesty in his voice silenced her momentarily. She'd never seen him this exposed. "You still should have told me." "Yes," he agreed. Should have an uncomfortable silence stretched between them. "Tell me about Josephine," Olivia finally said, softening. Something broke in Nathaniel's expression. He sank into a chair, suddenly looking vulnerable in a way his wealth and power usually concealed. "She was everything I'm not. Warm, open, she believed the best in people." A ghost of a smile touched his lips. "She would have loved you." As he spoke about his sister, how she'd drag him to art galleries, force him to take actual vacations, tease him about being emotionally constipated, Olivia began to understand the man behind the Ice King persona. Loss had frozen him further, reinforcing walls already built high. "After she died, I threw myself into work. It was easier than feeling." He looked up at Olivia. "Until you served me espresso and refused my tip?" Olivia sat across from him, close enough that their knees touched. "I have trust issues too, you." "No. After my parents died, everyone wanted to help. Became inconvenient. I learned to rely only on myself." "Is that why you won't accept any assistance with the cafe pride?" "Independence," she corrected. "There's a difference." Nathaniel reached for her hand, then hesitated. "I'm not trying to take over your life, Olivia. I just want to be part of it. I don't want to be anyone's charity case or project. Is that what you think this is?" His voice had an edge now. "I've spent months coming to your cafe. Getting to know you because you're a project?" "I don't know what this is," she exclaimed, standing abruptly. "You're a billionaire CEO, and I'm struggling to make rent. What future could we possibly have?" The moment the words left her mouth, she regretted them. His expression shuddered, walls slamming back into place. "You're right," he said, rising. "Come from different worlds."
Nathaniel.
I'll shelve. The Frost Brew project. You won't have to worry about competition. That's not what I goodbye, Olivia. He turned toward the door, the set of his shoulders rigid. "I won't bother you again." As the door closed behind him, Olivia felt something precious slipping away. They'd reached their boiling point, where truth scalded and exposed every insecurity. Both had carefully hidden. Now the question remained. Once things boiled over, would anything remain worth saving? Perfect Blend December painted the city with holiday lights and a dusting of snow. Sunrise Café had never looked better. Olivia had used her improved finances to renovate, adding a small bookshelf, more comfortable seating, and better equipment. Business was thriving. Yet every day at 2:30, she still found herself glancing at the door. 6 weeks had passed since Nathaniel walked out. 6 weeks of throwing herself into work, of telling herself it was for the best. They were too different. It would never have worked. "You're moping again," said Dominic, who had started helping at the cafe between classes. "Just call him." "I'm not moping," Olivia insisted, aggressively steaming milk. "And there's nothing to say." "Right, that's why you've checked your phone." 12 times in the last hour, she shot her brother a glare. "Don't you have studying to do?" "That." The truth was, she had composed countless messages to Nathaniel, deleting each one. Pride and fear kept her finger hovering over the send button. What would she even say? That she missed their conversations? That the cafe felt emptier without him? That she'd been wrong? The business section of the newspaper lay open on the counter, featuring a piece about Frostech's surprising new direction as a foundation funding small business grants for underserved communities. The article mentioned that CEO Nathaniel Frost had stepped back from daily operations to focus on the philanthropic venture, which included mentorship programs for young entrepreneurs. No mention of Frost Brew anywhere. The bell above the door jingled. Olivia looked up automatically. Her heart stuttered as Regina Wong entered, elegant in a camel coat and carrying a sleek portfolio.
"Miss Martinez," she
greeted warmly.
"do you have a moment?"
They sat at a corner table where Regina opened her portfolio. "I'm here about a business proposal. I'm not interested in selling," Olivia said immediately. Regina smiled. "Nothing like that. The Josephine Frost Foundation is launching a partnership program with local businesses. We'd like Sunrise Café to be our first participant.
That.
Josephine Frost Foundation, named after Mr. Frost's late sister. The foundation provides resources to small businesses while preserving their independence and unique character. Olivia's throat tightened, and Nathaniel sent you to pitch this. Actually, no. Regina's expression softened. He doesn't know I'm here. This was my initiative based on the foundation's goals. After Regina left, having outlined a partnership that was remarkably respectful of Olivia's autonomy, the cafe grew quiet as evening approached. Snow fell more heavily outside, deterring last-minute customers. Olivia found herself at the window, watching snowflakes swirl in the glow of street lamps. The cafe's reflection looked warm and inviting everything. She'd worked for, yet something essential was missing. Impulsively, she grabbed her coat. Nathaniel's penthouse was exactly as she'd imagined, minimalist. Overlooking the city, more like a magazine spread than a home. The security guard had called up, surprisingly, allowing her access when she gave her name. He opened the door looking nothing like the polished executive she knew. Barefoot, in jeans and a simple sweater, hair slightly rumpled, he seemed younger, more approachable. For a moment, they simply stared at each other. "Regina came to see me," Olivia finally said. "Ah," his expression was carefully neutral. "I didn't send her." "I know." She stepped closer. "You've been busy? The foundation? Stepping back from Frost Tech? I needed a change." His eyes never left hers. "What are you doing here, Olivia?" She took a deep breath. "I've spent 6 weeks convincing myself we're too different to work, that I was right to push you away." The faintest hope flickered in his eyes. "And now I think I was afraid. It's not of our differences, but of how much I care about you." Her voice softened. "I miss you, Nathaniel." My cafe is successful, but it's not the same without you scowling at your laptop in the corner. A smile tugged at his lips. I don't scowl. You absolutely do. She stepped closer still.
The thing
is I don't need you to save my business. It's doing fine. But I might need you in my life. He reached for her hand, entwining their fingers. I've been thinking about what you said, about different worlds. I was wrong, no, he interrupted. Gently, you were right. But what I've realized is that I was tired of my world before I met you. Cold, efficient, lonely. His thumb traced circles on her palm. Your world with its mismatched mugs and morning rushes and real connections. That's the world I want. To be part of Olivia's heart swelled. Maybe we can create our own world. Something that takes the best of both. Snow gathered on the panoramic windows as Nathaniel pulled her closer. I'd like that. I should warn you, she murmured. I'm still stubborn and independent. And I'm still learning how not to control everything. His eyes crinkled. We'll figure it out. Like the perfect coffee blend, she suggested. Strong but smooth. Bold but balanced. His laugh was warm and real. Nothing like the careful chuckle she'd first heard months ago. I've missed your coffee metaphors. Just the metaphors? In answer, he kissed her gently at first, then with growing certainty. Outside, the city sparkled with snow and lights, but neither noticed. Lost in the warmth they'd found in each other, spring sunshine streamed through new windows as Olivia placed a grand reopening sign outside Sunrise Café. The renovations had taken 2 months expanding into the adjacent space, adding a small community meeting room and updating equipment. The Josephine Frost Foundation plaque hung discreetly by the door, acknowledging their partnership without. Overshadowing the cafe's identity, nearby, a framed photo showed a laughing young woman with Nathaniel's eyes, but a much readier smile. Ready? Nathaniel asked, standing beside her as customers gathered outside. Olivia nodded, squeezing his hand. I'm thinking of adding a new signature drink to the menu. The perfect blend. Pretentious name, he teased, the coldness long gone from his voice. Named after us, actually. She smiled up at him. Strong enough to stand alone, but better together. They opened the doors to welcome the crowd. Olivia reflected on how far they'd come. The Ice King had melted, revealing a man capable of extraordinary warmth. She had learned that independence didn't mean facing life alone. Together, they had created something neither could have imagined that first rainy afternoon, a perfect blend of strength and sweetness, boldness and vulnerability. Independence and partnership. Like the best coffee, their love had started bitter, grown richer with time, and now offered something essential. Warmth that lingered long after the first taste.